Oh my gosh, it's being recorded.
It's being recorded. Hey, folks, welcome back to the stream. And right now, I am joined by Ichiro from Dejobaan Games, and Ichiro is also here representing Petricore. And Ichiro, tell us about the game that you're here to talk about.
Sure, we are talking about a remaster of the game. We're calling it 2021. This is a follow-up to the award-winning, best-selling, multi-Steam breaking game from 2009 and 2011. It also holds a Guinness World Record. Did you know that?
It doesn't really. I saw
Totally
that in
does.
like some of the advertising for it, but like what is the world record that it holds?
It is the world record for the longest word in a video game title. So yeah, so that was, I mean, the original series, it did break Steam multiple times because it was so long, 25 A's in a row. It is a game where you leap off of a perfectly good building, create your own stunts, and flip people off for points.
Awesome. So this is really funny because when I moved to Boston in 2009, that's I think I met you in that year, and you were working on this game then. So I feel like everything's just full circle.
Oh, absolutely. Well, so the game did really well back in its day. I mean, it was like nominated for a bunch of stuff, won a bunch of stuff. Like the sales were very good, and we brought it to VR alongside Alchemy Labs, and we brought it to mobile and all sorts of stuff. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, that's enough of this game. But first of all, everybody's remastering everything, and was kind of known for being quirky and funny. And I'm like, as almost a lark, we said, hey, why don't we just do a remaster of it? And alongside that, Ryan Kenwell of Petricore and I got talking, and we're like, we'd like to work together. So this turned from sort of like a tongue-in-cheek, ha ha ha, into a full project.
That's so cool. So how did you and Ryan connect?
I've known Ryan for, I don't know, can I be honest here? Ryan's like an old soul, so I've probably known him for like 35 years, despite the fact that he hasn't hit 35 yet. Petricore is a big part. That's my daughter, of the Boston area community, and I mean, he's just like we've known each other for years, and I always liked the way he thought about business and the way that he did a bunch of stuff. And you can take off your socks, kids. My 2-year-old daughter taking off the socks, and we just got to talking, and we said, hey, let's collab.
That's amazing. So I know Ryan through, I think that the first time I met Ryan was probably through a Mass Digi event, because Ryan's always been really hooked in with Mass Digi. If folks aren't familiar, the Mass Digital Games Institute, definitely check out what they're doing. They have really amazing programming, and I know Ryan was closely connected with them because I think that he went to
Yeah, you got a Becker, right?
yeah, went to Becker. So Mass Digi is run out of Becker College. It's a really great resource for people in the area. So Ryan always comes and teaches a guest lecture at my Business of Games course every year. And so he has for the last like 3 years come in and given a lecture to everybody about, the realities of developing indie games. And one of my favorite things is he just breaks down for people. Like, he's like, yeah, so we sold 30,000 copies of this game. Guess how much money we made?
Yeah, right.
It's like negative money. We made negative money.
Right. Well, the trick is to do the opposite of that, is to sell, to buy 30,000 games. And so, yes, no, I think he has a good analytical business mind.
Definitely. So shout out to Ryan, who could not be here for this interview, but will probably be at the fest, I think, at the booth.
He better be, because I want to say, like, I'm my fan, in my head, he's in Barbados, sort of sun tanning right now, while we're all like in rainy, snowy weather.
In the snow and ice
Yeah,
of Boston.
no. Yeah.
Totally unfairly. So where did the original idea for come from?
Yeah, so this is like 11 years ago, 12 years ago now, in 2008, right? Kamina, you haven't heard this story. My daughter hasn't heard this story. She doesn't want to hear this story. She's watching Cartoons. We actually were, there was a previous game called Inaugural Rage, and we had a level editor for it. And we said, you know, what if we change the mechanics of the game and turn this into something where you're just falling through the levels that we created in the level editor? And this was just sort of a prototype that we did over a week. And we said, you know, this is actually fun. And I found then, and I find now, like, you know, a quarter century into my career, I really like action games. So we said, let's play around with this. Let's turn this 1 week thing into a 1 month project. And we created a slew of levels. And we said, okay, look, let's put some press stuff out there. And back in 2008, that was pretty easy. You just put out some videos, and people would be like, "Indies? What are indies?" And so they picked that up. But the gameplay and the concept and the long name and all that good stuff was enough to get enough attention for us to say, yeah, this has legs. It's fun. Let's spend the next it was 9 months back then, 2008 to 2009, putting this together, and the rest is history.
That's amazing. I've been asking people, you know, is this your first game? Is this your 100th game?
It is our first game. We've been in business since 1999, no lie, and we've never launched a title. I joke it was that our 10th title, something like that, back in 2009. We're up to you know, however many we are up to at this point. So we've been around for long enough for the studio to start drinking legally.
That's an impressive fact about how long that studio's been around. So,
Yeah.
I mean, running an indie games business is notoriously difficult. So, you know, what's the secret sauce? What are you doing?
Yeah, sure. You know, it's been an interesting 2 decades plus where it's been feast and famine. So, you know, initially there was no concept of indie anything. So it was like websites where you could put your games on there and, you know, shareware it out. And then over the course of the mid aughts and, you know, the late aughts, you know, Steam, the App Store and all that stuff popped up. And it was, you know, just always happened to be in the right place at the right time with, like, you know, I think Dejobaan has always punched above its weight in the business development department. So, you know, we talked to Steam early, we talked to, you know, whoever early, and we've always been able to be, you know, sort of like, hey, we got a good product. Let's talk to people who are interested in something a little interesting and new. And so, you know, we've managed through, I mean, solely through our own IP to remain in business for this period.
That's incredible. I think it's so important. Lots of people have been talking about the value of networking and the value of maintaining relationships with people. And I know that, like, you know, just from my own experience, like, we've now maintained a friendship for, you know, 12 years. And, like, yeah, I think that's just a really important point to tell people about. Just
It
keep up
is
your
the number
contacts.
Yeah, it is the number one, and sometimes I don't do it and I lose out, but it's the number one reason why we're in business today. So we are about to, you know, like it's so weird the way things happen, right? You know, there's an upcoming thing we're doing with a platform who, you know, we can't talk specifics yet, but the reason that we have that is simply because I happen to be talking to a friend from back in the day who was connected to somebody else who was doing this stuff on this platform. And what happened to Rilakama? Well, sweetheart, if you bring me the controller, I can hit play again on Rilakama. Rilakama, by the way, very good. It's sort of like a stop motion Japanese thing, charming. It's about 2 bears, a bird, and a neurotic woman. My daughter loves it. Anyway, so if I didn't have that one conversation, then we wouldn't have gotten this deal, right? And therefore, just you never know when stuff is going to come up.
Absolutely. So, what's the team been like for developing or for the remastering of
Sure, the team has been very, you know, it's a tight team. It has been Petricore with Ryan and Oliver and Christina, and Ryan is, you know, he's taken the helm as a PM for his team project management. and producing, production for his team. Christina is the artist, and Oliver does, sort of tech and level design and so forth and so on. And then we have Ashley Rogers, who came out of the MassDigi program as well, and she is leading programming. And then if you ever met Will Stallwood, formerly of Cypher Prime, he's now working over at SafePoint with Kabir from the Boston area, as he is possibly the most brilliant visual designer I've ever met in my life. So it's a small compact team, and we're doing it over the course of something like 6 to 9 months, probably from conception of the remaster to launch, maybe a little longer to get some marketing in there, but tight team, really good people.
What are the differences between the 2009 2011 version and the remaster?
I would say there are 3 things. If we were to release the same game with prettier graphics today, it will probably not sell. Oh, I can hold your hand, but I can't go anywhere. I'm talking about the differences between the original game and the remaster. Would you like to hear about that? I know I would. Yes, she would. So it definitely starts with a visual refresh. What we're capable of now is so much different than what we could do 12 years ago. And I also, was programmer art originally, so it's kind of, a little bit fugly. But now, Will is taking point on the artistry, and it's like he's leading with an artistic eye. And then gameplay wise, I think we're experimenting more with the dynamics of movement, and I really want it to feel like, the concept is that you have you're a skydiver with a wingsuit. We really want to feel like you're actually doing that. Mm-hmm. So the viscerality, the movement is different, and I also want it to be like crazier and weirder than the original. So in the original, we had a guided meditation and an anti-meditation as part of it, and there's the sequences where you take apart your pet pig and put it back together, and it was quite a kind of a quirky game. And I think we can sort of turn that up to 11 and just kind of have fun with satirize the industry a little. So I like to say that this is our dystopian future only crashes when you crash into a building. Not to say anything too much about 2077, but can we just have fun with it? Can we have more fun with it? And we'll see.
I love that. It's good. Good allegory. Is allegory the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. Let's go with it.
Yeah.
I don't know where Ba is, sweetheart. You're gonna have to find Ba on your own.
So, where are you in production right now? Are you releasing soon?
Oh, I think so. The way that we like to do things nowadays is we haven't even really started marketing it. Mm-hmm. So Eric Chi, formerly social media for Megabooth, is helping us kind of ease into announcing all this on Twitter and social. So you'll see a little bit about that. But I think production is going to continue for 3, 4, 5 more months, and then we're going to spend a handful of time starting now to slide into marketing. So I could see this launching as early as early Q3, third quarter of next year, but it could go off early Q4.
Cool, excellent. So what's next for the company? Is there any other projects in the works right now, or just
we're doing we're doing a bunch of stuff. So we are actually following it's Sequel City. We're doing Monster Loves You 2, which is the sequel to our really best-selling visual novel about growing up as a monster. And we are also working on something called T-30, which is a game where you are in charge of rebuilding Boston hundreds of years after a cataclysm, and the Earth is dying, and your job is to build up the infrastructure to create enough rockets to save as many people as you can. So we got a lot of irons in the pie, a lot of fingers in the fire, something like that.
So I want to ask about advice. So I'm asking everybody that's just getting kind of, we've talked a little bit about this already, but let's say someone's just getting started. They want to do what you do. They want to create indie games and they have never done this before. What advice would you have for them about getting started?
I found that the Boston community has been incredibly friendly, and you have to ask and you have to sort of put yourself out there. But if you are creating a game and you can go to the Boston Indies or the I want to say like all these events that happen virtually, that like, oh yeah, making games, making friends happens at Flat Top Johnny's every month. You can't do that because A, pandemic, B, Flat Top Johnny's. So everything is Flat Top Johnny's went out of business,
Yeah.
close up shop. So I would go to these events, go to virtual BFIG, go to Bug, go to Women in Games Boston. Bug is Boston Unity Group, and so forth and so on. Just get to know people. People are incredibly welcoming. They're obviously working on their own stuff, but like if you find the Boston Slack, Boston Games Slack, and you ask questions like, I ask questions as a Unity noob because I'm not the one programming nowadays, and I was like, how do you do this? And people are like, oh, here's your answer, and that that is your number one way to just to I guess decrease or to increase the chance of success.
It's really good advice. So it's like I think that you had given me similar advice when I was first kind of like
And you're
coming to
see now you're
Boston.
thriving and
Yeah,
you're here, and so it's
exactly.
proven done.
Proven advice. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to join me, and and this is Space for Plugs. So where can people find out more about both companies and what you're doing?
Sure, Petricore. Now you're putting me on the spot because I don't remember Petricore's Twitter handle. I'm going to say Petricore Games. Let's go with that. You can look them
It's
up
one
that
of
way.
those. One of those.
Yeah, one of those,
I'll
and
look it up. I'll have the links down at the bottom.
perfect. See, we'll fix it in post. And Dejobaan, the corporate is at Dejobaan, Dejobaan AAN on Twitter, and I just changed my handle. I think I'm Ichiro Dejobaan. Don't quote me on that. Or Dejobaan Ichiro. Always happy to chat.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. It was lovely to chat with you as always.
Yes, thank you very much.
And folks at home, stick around for more indie interviews.